All right, how's it going?
Yeah, it's great. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Um, all right, so we're gonna talk about a few things, but first we're gonna talk about animals. Well, I guess pets and like rescue animals. And yeah, what was the first thing you wanted to talk about?
So, rescue animals. So, it's a big deal for me because I have like 17 cattle, 1 7,
Hmm.
around 9 dogs right now. Those animals are sick. So, in India, you can't actually put down animals, that's illegal.
Oh,
You have to take nature, take its course. And it costs a lot to take them to the veterinary and decide. Like, there is a process, a long process you can put down, but that's extremely expensive.
gotcha. Now, are there
So
some
yeah.
are there some vets that do it for free, like for charity? Because when we were talking last time, in the middle of our talk, you found that
Mhm.
that dog on the street and took it to the vet. Did you have to pay for that, or did they do it?
Yes, I had to pay. Usually, I don't. I have like around 7 to 8 vets in touch who can who does a lot of things for free. But
Okay.
the truth is, they can't. They have a business somewhere, so they can't come anytime. I can't visit them. They work in places. So and I was in between in the middle of the city, so I had to drive like I can tell you in kilometers. It's around 32 kilometers just to reach the vet at that time. It was late night for
Gotcha.
in India. Hmm.
Gotcha. Okay. And
So
so, okay, so you have you said seven dog or nine dogs and 17
sev-
cows.
17 cattle. Yeah, last time I
Okay.
checked. So
Gotcha.
uh, it's yeah. So we have a culture here that cows are sacred, and we talk about this last time. So, but
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times, what people do with sick animals, they just let them go free, and
Mm.
society is not actually safe for animals. If I'm gonna leave my dog on the road, that dog might die, and that would be a horrible death.
Yeah, definitely.
So in last 5 years, I was able to save around 17 cows. There is one buffalo as well, 16 cows and one buffalo,
Mm-hmm.
and 9 dogs. So I have a rule. I don't spend so much money because I can't actually. I have like two jobs right now, one offline, one online, and I take small projects like translations jobs and all. So
Mm-hmm.
life is already pretty difficult. So right now, what I'm thinking about is somehow we need to convince people to not let them go free, and it should be allowed to actually kill your pet with an injection. It's not a bad thing. If they don't suffer, it's fine. According to me, I might be wrong, but that's what my view is.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I agree. I mean, the worst part to me is that we ever created the domesticated animals, and so we put them in that situation. But since they are in that situation, I think, especially if they're suffering, putting them down is a good thing. Do you so in India, is there like political discussion about why it is that it's illegal to put them down? Has it always been illegal?
Yes. So in last year, sorry, not last year, about 2 months back, one guy was arrested for drowning a mouse. Just 2 months back.
What?
So he is still yeah, and he is still in jail. So things are because mouse are kind of sacred, not the serious thing, but still sacred. But if you kill a cow or a dog, that thing can be pretty serious. Can be. I'm not saying it will be, but it might get pretty serious legally.
Gotcha. Okay, so you can't put down a dog, but you can kill like chickens and stuff for food. So
Yeah, yeah,
is
yes.
the dog specifically sacred as well, like with the
No,
mice and
dogs are not sacred.
okay.
So I'm so sorry. Dogs are not sacred, but people see them as a friend or something, like as a companion. And they were companion actually. When we started, yes, they were companion, but we don't need them anymore. But
Yeah.
my question is, there are animals like emotional support animals, rescue dogs. These
Mhm.
animals, these animals very important job on airport. They do have dogs which sniff drugs and all. So what about
Mm.
those animals? That's the question today.
Yeah, so I don't think I've thought about this a lot, and I, especially the animals that like help, like maybe blind people walk around, and
Mm.
various different support animals. I think I'm at the point where I don't think they're necessary. I think humans should take care of other humans, and okay, let's take them one at a time. So
Mm.
the dogs that sniff out drugs. Well, first, I don't think drugs should necessarily be illegal, but I guess that's a whole different topic. And so if they weren't illegal,
Mm.
we wouldn't need that aspect of it. Um,
Actually, they also sniff out bombs and all.
okay, there you go, sniff out bombs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think that we have things that can detect bombs, like different like metal detectors and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's similar to something like testing on animals to cure something big like cancer. I would say that yes, if we have an issue with bombs on planes, and we could get dogs to sniff them out, then that would be a rare
Mm-hmm.
case where maybe I would lean towards that direction, but I'm kind of unsure. But with animals that
Mm-hmm.
are, especially support animals, just emotional support where people just have them because maybe they have anxiety or depression. I don't think that's a good
Yeah.
enough reason. I think those people should just figure out how to be more social and make friends that could help with that. And I don't,
Therapy. There is a therapy.
yeah. But yeah, but
Mm.
as far, even with something like dogs that are trained to help people with more severe stuff, like if they're blind and they help them walk,
Mm-hmm.
or various different things like that, I think humans should take care of that. I think humans can have
Of course.
jobs of helping people out. And so yeah, I don't think we should rely on these animals that can't consent to being there. They have to be trained in a certain way where I don't know. I mean, sure,
Mm.
they might have better lives than in nature, because nature can be pretty devastating. But I don't think it's worth it to force something to be in an area that it hasn't chosen to be in.
Mm-hmm. So I am a part of Indian Vegan Association from
Mm,
last like 12 years or something. Small
mm,
organization, not even registered yet. So we had a talk last week. We have like 70 members came, and we started discussing about things. So you made a video about hunters, and I agree with you. So I would actually prefer a person who hunt their meal instead of buying from a supermarket because that's extremely dangerous for animals.
mm,
So one guy came up with a question. So he asked about 2 million years ago, our ancestors started cooking the meat, and that was crucial for evolution, and that's actually proven fact. So I agree with that. So that extra energy helped us grow bigger and smarter. So the question was actually, so that's a truth. So what if we all stop eating meat? Will it affect us? And I don't have a genuine answer actually. I stopped smoking and initially that hurt. So what do you think about it?
yeah, so I've heard that said, but from my understanding, it seems like it's more of a myth than anything. I don't know if a myth is the right word for it, but it's I don't think it's like there's a consensus on it. I don't think there's like some large majority that think eating animal products has made our brains more intelligent. Um, so I guess I'd want to do more research on it, but I know it's a thing that some people say, but then many experts on the other side say that it's not true. So I guess I don't have many thoughts
Hmm.
on if it is accurate, but I guess I could have a
Hmm.
a philosophical take on if we find out that it is. Like like if we can you know, use MRI machines and look into our brains and see how our brains are functioning and see like an
Mm-hmm.
average intelligence level, and then we stop eating meat and then we see that we become less intelligent. I don't know. I think I would be.
Nothing will change in within a generation.
Yeah,
Evolution
exactly.
doesn't work that way. Nothing will change even in a generation or 10 generation or even 100. So that's something.
Yeah,
So I made a
definitely.
video and it was horrible. It was wrong. I didn't delete it yet, but I should. So I made a video about insects don't feel pain.
Mm-hmm.
That's I was so wrong. I had to research actually.
Mm.
So yeah, they don't have emotions like us. I agree. They are not as smart as us, so they don't. What? Just give me a second. Being chemistry, I forget words, so I have to write down. So they don't actually anticipate the pain. They're not waiting or they're not scared about it, but they do feel something because they have a reaction towards, for example, getting away from heat, these things.
Mm-hmm.
So it now the premises have completely changed. So I was thinking, okay, earthworms and insects don't feel pain, but they do feel something. We are not sure exactly what it is,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't know how if it hurts them emotionally. Ladybugs do feel pain, and they respond emotionally towards it.
Oh, really?
They get scared. Yeah, they do memorize these things, and the ladybugs and fruit flies. So I read around
Mm.
600 pages in last 10 days. Actually, I'm doing constantly that only, and I have a small project as well, so I'm working like 24 hours. So thing is that the situation has changed now. I'm so stressed right now that what if I'm participating in a suffering?
Because of making the
I'm gonna
video on
start
it.
getting made, of course, but yeah,
Well, sorry,
not
what's
not
that?
because of making a video on it. No, not because making a video on it, but I was horribly wrong. And I'm talking about being. If what if we realize that being vegan is hurting thousand insects? So are we actually gonna choose one mammal over thousand insects?
Oh, I see.
What is your
Yes.
take on it? Yeah.
So I think that we have to, obviously we have to go with what we know and what we can understand. So imagine that we
Hmm.
were around like say 200 years ago, and me and you were just, we lived near each other, we were good friends, and we were not
Hmm.
wanting to hurt our animals. Now, if there was no scientific evidence on any of this stuff that we're talking about, anything vegan related,
Hmm.
me and you
Hmm.
could watch what happens when somebody kicks a dog or kicks a cow, and we can see that they cry out and they're sad, and
Of course.
if you stab them, they'll bleed and they'll freak out. And we can see that because they're acting similar to how we humans would act, that we could
Hmm.
recognize they're probably suffering how we do. So we don't necessarily need the scientific evidence to make us guess that they're suffering. If anything, we would need
Hmm.
scientific evidence to show the other way around. Like science would have to show that we were wrong and that they don't suffer for us to be affected by it. Whereas insects, we could just look at insects
Hmm.
and we could see so we can't hear them. We can't hear if they're crying out, and we don't recognize anything that seems like suffering to us. So we have to make the
Hmm.
best guess we can. If somebody around 200 years ago didn't didn't think that insects felt pain, so they didn't care if insects died in a field, then
Hmm.
I don't blame that person. That's just
Of course.
a human that's part of our world that is making a choice based on the best information they have. So I think we have to do
Hmm.
the same thing. So we have to figure out what things suffer more. If I don't I'm very curious to keep researching how insects feel pain, but I think we would have to be convinced, or like let's say me personally, if I had the option of eating food that a bunch of insects had to be killed for, like millions, versus shooting one deer, I would have to be convinced that which one is causing more or less suffering. And I don't want to cause suffering, so I wouldn't even try to find any tricks. I would truly want to have my best educated guess on which one is causing more suffering. And I'm guessing mammals suffer a wild amount more than insects.
Mm.
And so I guess that's where I'm at right now. If we all of a sudden found out that insects suffer a lot more, then I might have to change my mind, I guess.
Oh, definitely they don't take, and I'm hoping they don't take. Because I don't know how many insects unintentionally we have killed already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It,
So,
yeah.
yeah, please ask your question.
Oh, I was just going to keep going on about that because if you look at like the front of cars, they're covered in dead insects. And yeah, I think it's good to not kill insects intentionally, but we have
Mm.
to get our food the way we get our food. Maybe if we found out that because of insects feeling pain, we had to kill so many to get the food to feed how many people there are, at some point it might be
Mm.
good for societies to regulate how many people
Mm.
can be born. It seems kind of
Mm.
horrible, but if we're figuring out ways to keep ourselves alive so long that
Mm.
there's just too many people. Now, I don't know much about why to think if there's overpopulation or not, but if it's I don't know, it might be worth
Mm.
regulating how many people. What do you think? I've heard people actually say that they feel like India itself is maybe overpopulated. So what are your thoughts being in India of overpopulation?
So that's a myth actually. We have a lot of space. The
Mm,
problem is we don't have enough jobs, so we think, oh, it's an overpopulated place, but it's not actually. We have a lot
mm,
of free space. Everyone has its own. I would it should reduce because we don't have enough resources for everyone. But the
mm-hmm,
resources we have are sufficient for everyone, and the resources we don't have is not the reason we can actually get those resources, but we are not getting them. So we are not overpopulated yet,
mm.
but we might be in next 20 years.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
Do you think it's the overpopulation is due to anything specific like religion or something? Because so here in the US,
It's
it's very well known
mm,
that people that are Catholic, they don't use birth control
mm.
and their goal is to have as many kids as possible.
They don't
So
pull out.
yeah, a
Mhm.
lot of Catholic families here will have like 8 children, where most other families will have two or three. In India, does the religion affect how many kids there are?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does affect. So there is an ongoing war somewhere. The uneducated people right now are scared that Hinduism is the is the most common religion in India.
Mm-hmm.
So people are worried that, oh my God, Muslims are getting more and more Muslims we are getting. So Muslims in India, uneducated ones especially, they usually get have like around 4 to 8 children in between. That's something in between. And in Bihar, there's a place called Uttar Pradesh, UP. So Hindus have the same numbers of kid children. One of our most famous politician have 10 or 11 children. Lalu Prasad Yadav, it's his name.
Mm-hmm.
So it is kind of about religion, but it's mostly about everyone wants a boy. If there are like 4 girls, they want a boy just to take so boy can take care of them in when they get old. We don't usually leave our houses at the age of 18. It's different here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so everyone wants a boy, and it's kind of about religion, but sex education will work on this actually.
Gotcha.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I don't know if at some point we have to start worrying about population. But yeah, with the insect thing is very tough, and I think we just have to keep learning as we go. I don't know. I'd be curious to look at like the scientific method for figuring out if insects feel pain.
Me too, actually. I am really, really curious about it, but I got nothing concrete right now. A lot of research will show you that, oh, they do feel pain. A lot of research will show you they don't have the same pain receptors. They don't feel the pain same way. But right now it's not clear, and I think we need more research. Some people, though experts, needs to do this. Actually, I'm not capable of researching these things out. I'm doing what I can, but not everyone can be perfect in these things.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope that we can create pesticides and various different things to keep bugs away from the food, but not to kill them. I don't know if there's advancements on that kind of thing or if it's.
We have, we have actually
Oh, okay.
in India. Yeah. So I don't know the plant name in English, but it's called NIM name. It's a tree.
Hmm.
So if you take those leaves, make paste out of it, and you throw around your plants, bugs won't eat it, but they
Hmm.
won't die as well. They will run away from it. So we have that system here, and a lot
Hmm.
of people do that. I feel so grateful that a lot of people do respect life.
Hmm. Yeah.
Situation in India is actually way better than many other countries. So if you wanna stop eating meat, you have support for it. You can go in any restaurant and you can be like, I'm vegetarian. They will feed you. They won't ask you a second question. You won't eat anything non-veg accidentally. But when
Oh,
it
gotcha.
comes to being a vegan, it's little difficult, but it's easier. 15 years I'm vegan. I don't take any vitamins. I saw actually you do,
Hmm.
but I don't take any vitamins. I get everything from my meals. Everything. I'm not
Okay.
sick. I'm pretty healthy actually. I have six pack abs right now, so I'm pretty healthier.
Awesome. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great.
So
Um,
be yeah.
what do you do? What do you do? So I only take 3 supplements, and I am kind of curious. So
Mm.
well, I guess India is pretty close to the equator, so you probably get plenty of sun for vitamin D. So I guess you're not worried about vitamin D. But how about
Yeah.
B12?
So
Do you have your
B12,
B12?
I have no idea how. No, I don't take any supplements, but I don't have any health conditions. So I'm working for an organization. They do check us every year.
Mhm.
I have no illnesses, nothing. Um, Everything is perfect. It's been around 5 years. I'm not sick, and vegan from 15 years.
Awesome. Okay.
So I don't think, yeah, somehow it's working out for me.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's many things we have to worry about. So B12 is kind of
Mm.
interesting, and I learn about it the more I go. But essentially,
Yeah, I know about
there's
B12.
there okay, yeah, there's a bacteria,
Mm.
I believe it's referred to as cobalt, and it's in the soil, and we used to get it a lot by drinking like fresh stream water, and now we don't get it that way because we have, clean waters pumped through the pipes. And then also we would get it from the soil, like when we'd pull food out of the ground and eat that, and we clean our food more now. So
Mm.
so the reason that people get it from animals is because they get it
Mm.
from the soil, like a cow will get it from the soil or whatever. And but now that we feed cows like corn and stuff like that, cows actually don't get it. And so the farmers actually have to pump cobalt into the cows, and then in their gut bacteria, the bacteria in
Mm.
their stomach turn the cobalt into B12. And so anyways, it's kind of complicated, but it's just one of those things that now due to our modern society, it's not a thing we can get, and it's very important for like brain health and brain function. Luckily for younger people, you don't have to worry about it too much. So your B12 levels are
Mm.
probably perfectly fine. But I wouldn't be surprised if at some point you had to supplement or make sure you got something fortified, like a nutritional yeast has a lot of B12 in it. And
So actually, you figured it out right now. So I travel a lot, and clean water is not always available.
oh, okay.
So I might be getting my B12 from not so clean water. That's a possibility.
Hmm. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. And then the only other thing I take is omega 3s from algae, and it's good for brain health. And I know people get it in like they take fish oil sometimes or just eat fish, and the fish eat the algae. So that's where the omega 3s come from. And some people, when they eat flax and chia seeds and stuff like that, their body will convert it to DHA for the
Mm-hmm.
omega-3s, and but some bodies don't. So from my most trusted sources, I find that it's beneficial to get that algae supplement. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure if we were in some apocalyptic world where there was no supplements and we just had to eat from the land, I'm sure we'd be fine as long as we made sure we got like flax and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think it's a big deal. I don't think people need to view veganism as a thing where you need to supplement. Um, it's almost like we all have to supplement. Like nobody needs to eat meat, but the meat eaters are supplementing B12 by eating the meat. And so anything that we can like take and consume is almost
That's
like
a
a
pretty bad
supplement.
excuse, actually.
Oh, it's a
That's
very
a pretty
bad
bad excuse for B12. Yeah.
no, it's a very bad
Yeah.
excuse. I
That
just
doesn't even make sense. You
oh,
can
I
take
just
one simple pill and it's done.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I just meant like a lot of people view eating meat as this natural thing, but taking a B12 supplement is not natural. And I guess what I meant was I don't think it would be more natural to kill something, to cut out its flesh, and then to
Mm.
cook up its flesh, and then to eat that to get your B12.
Mm.
Like that's essentially like creating a
Mm.
supplement. And so yeah, it's just kind of interesting to think about.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's awesome that you are thriving and doing well without any supplements and being vegan for so long. And I'm jealous of your six pack. I want one of those.
It's really hard, actually. 2 hours every day, that's hard. So,
Hmm.
uh, actually, you said that you are not sure about that our ancestors got that evolution because of eating meat. And let's say it's fine, it's not true, whatever. But
Hmm.
even if it is, humans are smart now.
Hmm.
It's time we also little compassion and empathize with all living creatures. It's been so long we are not thinking about animals at all. And if you do you have any siblings, younger siblings?
Yes.
So as an elder sibling, it's your responsibility to just, if you are living together, of course, so it kind of your responsibility, the same responsibility I hold for my younger siblings, that we have to take care of our youngs. We have to make sure that they do not suffer. So I think, as an creature, as a living creature, as an animal, actually, it's all our responsibility to just spread that spread that feeling towards every living creature.
Yeah.
That's just a thought here.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I do think it's complicated. I think every animal, kind of including humans, uh, ta take care of themselves. Like we have it in our very nature that we want to survive and continue and procreate and whatnot. So
Mm.
if we are similar to a bird will make a nest and a beaver will chop down a tree to make a dam, humans can figure out that the best way to live is to cut down a tree, build a house, and that's how we get our shelter to take care of ourselves. So we
Yeah.
almost have to say like even if some bugs are living in this tree and some squirrels are living on this tree, we might want to be humane and figure out a way to scare anything out of it before we cut it down, or maybe the noise of cutting it down
Yeah.
will scare them out. But we can't say we'll never build a home because other things are using that as a home. We have to take care of ourselves and make our shelter. And we might, digging up some carrots, we might kill an animal that's under the ground that we didn't know was there on accident. And we still have to live and thrive and survive and take care of our own. But once we can do that, once we're at the
Mm.
level that me and you are at, where we're in a society, we're working, we have shelter, we have food, at that point, I think we
Yeah.
need to do everything we can to not let anything suffer needlessly. And but
Yes.
I think it's important to think about the elements of The thing is that we kind of have to make suffer to not trick ourselves. Like I think the people that say if they were on an island with an animal and they were dying and they had to eat the animal to survive, they say they wouldn't. I think those might be vegans that haven't thought about how an intuition might kick in when you're starving versus the luxury that we all have.
Yeah. So when I decided to be vegan around 20 years ago, but it took me like 5 years to stop eating dairy. It was
Mm,
easy initially because I was craving, I was young, I wasn't that smart. So I wasn't thinking about animals. So my intuition was every time someone offers a meal, no, 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 but okay, I'll take it this time, but not next time. So I did that for
mm,
around 5 years. Milk, curd, and a lot of tasty things. Yeah, those things are tasty, but it's not. It doesn't make sense that I am eating something tasty and someone else is suffering on regular basis for that.
yeah.
But a remote village in Africa, somewhere in Africa, if they don't have anything else at all to eat, and we can't reach them, we can't help them, and they are killing animals and eating them. So I don't think it's anything wrong. They're trying to survive, and it's fine.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. And I think one of the problems is, and I think it's the reason I want to have my channel be what it is and focus on talking to non-vegans about reduction is because sure, it's great. All the people that want to become vegan, that'll be great. And there's a lot of people that can reach them. But I think what happens
Hmm.
is there's people like me and you that we know that we can stop making animals suffer, so we're going to do it. And we recognize that people like you were just talking about in a tribe in Africa might need to make something suffer. But the people that live in our societies that they're not vegan and they don't do anything to help, I think we
Hmm.
forget that those people, if they stopped and thought about it, they might not go vegan, but they might change a lot of their habits. So I think the dairy industry is a lot worse than something like hunting, because these cows are forcefully
Hmm.
impregnated. They have their calves ripped away. There's the emotion of crying out for their calves. Their calves are slaughtered instantly. And then the worst part, I think, is these cows have metal machines, probably with a little rubber, hooked up to their udders, pumping them. And the machine doesn't know if they have sores on their udders, and so it's just making like they probably suffer a lot from this. And I think if you sit down and you talk to non-vegans and you show them like, okay, you think you need to eat meat to survive, that's fine, eat your meat, go hunting, eat some deer, do what you do. But that milk that you're making cake out of that you know is unhealthy, or that you're putting in your coffee when you could put in like a alternative milk, um the amount of suffering that you're causing these animals just for this dairy that's so not normal for animals to drink the dairy of other animals. I think really if you get people to sit down and you don't judge them too much and you don't tell them you're a horrible person,
Hmm.
you have to go 100% vegan. If I
Hmm.
took just about any regular meat eater out to like a farm and had them hang out with a cow and think it through and think like, okay, let's be okay with eating some meat here and there, but let's cut out half the amount of dairy or all the dairy. So that's kind of my goal is I just feel so sad for all the animals harmed by the people that are so far on the other side, and vegans seem to push them so far away. That imagine a
Hmm.
world where half the people were very cautious about how much dairy they consumed, and they like bought a gallon of milk like half as often.
Or imagine just one someone who eats the meat 3 times a day is eating just one time or 2 times. That
Yeah,
changes a lot.
exactly. Yep.
Yeah. So I do blame vegans for a lot of bad things in this situation because I vegans thought that it's about animals' death. Somehow, a lot of vegans have that mindset that it's about animals' death. They forget that it's about suffering.
Yeah.
Death is gonna happen today, tomorrow, someday, whatever it is. But it's initially about suffering. So I have seen in your comments, I have seen in personal life, one of my ex-girlfriend was vegan, just like me, and I saw her kicking, like not literally, but she was about to punch a guy for ordering a coffee with milk. That
Mm.
kind of stupidness. I have seen people really do stupid shit. I
Yeah.
think we can use that language, right?
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
So,
it's wild.
they, yeah,
I think
yeah.
one of the
Please continue.
problems I think one of the problems is I most vegans I think are very passionate and they care, but I think it becomes almost like a religion where they feel like they're part of this group that's better than everybody else. And I think morally, yes, vegans are better in the sense that we are causing less suffering, and so we're better in that sense. But I think they just view it as if you become vegan, then you're part of us and you're great. And if you don't become vegan, even if you're vegetarian or if you don't consume much at all, you're still one of the other. And when people get this like almost religious type mindset, I think they care so
Hmm.
much more about creating vegans. This is an idea I just thought of somewhat recently, but I think the if they could press a button and cause less suffering, or press a button and cause more suffering but create a couple more vegans, I think they would press the button to create a couple more vegans, because I think there's something in the mindset of, yes, like we're going to build this group and you could be part of our group. Where in my mind, I just want the suffering to stop. And I don't want to think of myself as better, but I really just don't know if they're thinking it through. So similar to, I want to take non-vegans to farms to show them what animals are like. I kind of want to take vegans to farms and show them, look at this suffering. You you're trying to turn people into vegans because you have this basic idea that being vegan helps animals, but you're not thinking about the suffering. And if you're thinking about the suffering, then you would want to get the non-vegans to reduce and to not hate vegans.
Exactly. Exactly. Actually, a lot of vegans are like, okay, now I need you to stop eating dairy products at all. Yeah, I need you to become vegan from right now, and then we can talk. And that's so stupid. Because
Yeah.
even if you stop drinking, stop smoking, your body does feel uncomfortable initially. So meat eaters do feel uncomfortable initially. So that's a real problem. But if they are taking care of themselves, and after a long, like after like couple of months or 3 months, they won't feel any issues with their bodies. At
Mm-hmm.
least most of them I can vouch for. So what happens because of a lot of not understanding vegans, they are already in the opposite. They are like, okay, I was eating like twice meat twice a day. Now I'm gonna eat 3 times. So it's lit. I have seen people doing the exact opposite just because someone is rude with you, and that's unfair with animals.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's definitely not good. Um, the one thing I was going to say that I think a lot of people don't think about as well is, when you're not vegan, you don't want to think of yourself as
Mm,
bad, so you don't think of the bad happening. You just have a quick idea of, it's okay, this is normal, everybody does it, and you don't think about it. But if somebody
mm,
got somebody to cut back on their dairy and cut back on their meat, or maybe somebody that thought they needed meat to be healthy, if you convince them to not eat like deep fried meats like chicken nuggets, or not eat like processed stuff like hot dogs, because they would be harming animals to eat something that they know is unhealthy. If you get them to make these couple changes, then their brain's going to start thinking about it, and they're going to go, what I'm doing is helping animals. And then when they think more about the animals, that will make them work towards, eventually they'll probably go vegan. But I think the getting people to reduce does this awesome element where it gets them to think about the thing. Where if you don't get them to reduce at all, then they're going to continue not thinking about it.
Of course, because you actually talked about slavery last time we spoke.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was discussing about this veganism. So even with slavery, if we had slavery in India, not officially, but we had slavery in India.
Mm-hmm.
So even with slavery, the law started with, okay, now you can't beat him or her. No, next you can't chain them. You have to let them walk freely, and that's how things changed, and we were able to remove those things completely. And
Mm-hmm.
that's something so disgusting. I would say just stop this right now, but that wasn't possible. So
Yeah.
we have to give the same courtesy towards meat eaters. They're humans.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And maybe we don't even have to view it as a courtesy. We just have to view it as like looking at the end goal, looking at what's likely to work. I remember I'm pretty fascinated by history, and I remember
Mm.
looking into Abraham Lincoln, and one of the senators that was talking to him about that wanted to end slavery was telling him that not only to put a vote in for ending slavery, but that we need to make it so Black people in the U.S., when we end slavery and they're free, that they should be able to have a vote. They should have a vote for president and stuff like that. And Abraham Lincoln
Mhm.
told the guy, I want them to have the vote, but if we try to convince people to free them and give them the vote, they're just going to think we're crazy and not do it. So we need to free them first, and then once that's
Yeah,
official, then get the vote. And so even though in your mind you think you want to cure all the injustices right away, it's if it's going to be more harmful and make it not work, you have to go the smart route because you have to do what overall is going to work.
and initially black people got one third of a vote, and right now they are actually equal. I don't know what the situation is on ground level, but
Mhm.
on paper they're equal. So it did work.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's something I hope people think about, and I definitely want to talk with people more about. I gotta hop off here in a sec, but I wanted to circle it back to
Yeah, sure.
the beginning of the talk about the rescue animal thing. I was just curious because you showed me that video
Hmm.
of your cows and dogs on that land. Is that land
Hmm.
your
Yeah,
your family's property?
that belongs to my father right now, but I'm using it for animals.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's awesome. So
Yeah.
that's kind of what I think should happen. I mean, I agree with you that I think animals that are suffering should be able to be put down by injection, but the ones that aren't suffering, I think the ultimate goal would be to have a piece of land like the one that you have, or maybe even some bigger land, and maybe just put like animals all on that land, like cows and dogs and stuff like that. And
Mhm.
maybe I don't know if it's best to spay and neuter them so they don't keep reproducing, or if there's enough wild land for like a sanctuary,
Mhm.
you can just let them reproduce if
Mhm.
they want to, and essentially they would be
All
out
my
in the wild.
Mhm. Yeah, all my animals are sterilized. They are not gonna reproduce. They are just gonna die in peace, and I'm
Mhm.
done. So that's the
Gotcha.
goal. Okay, so can I say something to your viewers?
For sure.
Yeah, so hi guys, I don't make videos on regular basis. I have a YouTube channel, but I really need to grow that channel. I make like one video a month, but I am in a situation where I am threatened, and things happens with me. So I need a platform where I can put my voice instantly out, and a lot of people will see that. So that's the only goal. I have a YouTube channel. Thank you. Thank you, Carson.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'll have a link to your YouTube channel in the description below. So yeah, it's great talking, and let's do it again soon.
Sure. Maybe we will do it in 20 years as well as we talked last time, and
Oh,
see how much the world has changed.
Yeah, yeah. That's great. Let's do it again before
Sure.
then, but also in 20 years.
Of course.
All
Sure.
right. All right. Take care.
Okay.
Have a good day.